for families and for social gatherings, and therefore the parks need to be clean, well maintained and family friendly. Thirdly, we want to support local businesses, small businesses and entrepreneurs. And the fourth one I want to announce is that we want to build up an emergency fund for the just in case, for blankets, for non-perishable foods, and maybe even some clothing. I have a printout here of the basic income and expenditure that anyone wants to look at, our bank details, and if a list if anyone wants to become a regular donor. You can come and talk to me afterwards as well. We are trying to grow a brand called the Bothasig Residents Association. So we want you to be proud of it, and we want you to be involved with that. We want to continue to be apolitical, involve everyone, to be inclusive of everyone, and the association you can be proud of as well. We're trusting that this vibrant collaboration between the residents, the association, the councillor, the non-profit organizations, any organizations, and the businesses in the area, that we together will form a powerful message that will not only go through the residents, but also will go to the neighboring suburbs, and maybe even the city, where eventually we will say, wow, something good and amazing can come out of Bothasig. So I thank you again for your support tonight, and the committee is really looking forward to working together so that we can make this place so wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to adopt the new constitution. I'm sure everybody has read the new constitution. Haven't? Okay, we've posted the new constitution on our BRA website as well as on our Facebook page. So if you do want to go and have a look at it, you're more than welcome to go there. If you can't, you're more than welcome to speak to me. I'll send it to you. All right. So can I get a nomination? Top sheet.
So there were no major changes in the constitution. We just basically continued what Derek started with. For example, what we did, we reduced our members to 9. It was 11. 11 was just too big to make effective decisions, so we reduced that to 9. There were some grammar issues there. We just emphasized that. For example, where it states a chairperson can, well, when a chairperson is elected, he is automatically elected for 2 years. It did not specifically state that, so we just put that out in simple language. Yeah, there are no real major changes in the constitution. But like I said, we have been posting that for the last couple of weeks on all the different social media. We've been asking, please have a look at the constitution. You just click the link to download it to your phone. Everything is there. Yeah, we try to be as transparent as possible. If someone wants a hard copy, I've got a hard copy in my car if you really need it. But there are no major changes. Okay.
Okay.
So for the constitution to be adopted, we need to take a vote, and 75% of the people here need to vote to accept it. Okay, that's how we actually get it. Otherwise, we then stick with the old one. Okay, it's as simple as that. Do anyone have any specific questions with regards to? Yeah. And the treasurer. Yes. Yes, yes. Yes. So, yeah, yeah, it's well noted, but we didn't want to change anything significant in the Constitution. So we don't want to rattle any cages. We want to just keep it simple. We just, there were some issues with the paragraphs. We grouped different paragraphs together. Yeah, I think the one difference was if there's another one where, for example, family member cannot simultaneously serve on the committee, and to be the chairperson, you must have been on the executive for 1 year. So that makes sense. So you can't just come and try to bulldoze and get the people and say, okay, I'm the chairperson. So you must have some experience with the executive, not just the committee, before you then can become chairperson. So there's no weird. It's all very logical, the changes. But you guys are welcome to ask any questions that you. Yeah, I thought I shared it so many times. I would think literally in the month I probably shared it between 30 and 50 times. I shared that and said, please read. Our first line on the post was, we're adopting a new constitution. Did anyone maybe see the Facebook post where it says right on top? Okay, maybe you guys don't follow our page. It was the first thing that said we're adopting a new constitution. So on that point, have anyone read the old constitution? Are you familiar with the old constitution? Okay. Okay. The old constitution has been in the library for years. We also then double-checked. We just printed a better copy and we put it there. You could have got it from the previous committee as well, but it has always been there, the old constitution. So I think it's very important as a residents that we read these documents. It's actually written quite in simple language. There were some issues, and that's why we just wanted to simplify those issues, so it's like just in layman's terms. So I don't know if you guys want. We would like to take the votes. It's either yes or no. If one, yeah. So you can just raise it, or you don't have to raise yes or yeah. Yes. So not in the current state. So how it works, you essentially choose your committee. Then the committee chooses the EXCO. That's how it states in our constitution. So the two EXCO members, namely the chairperson and the treasurer, it states that they are entitled for 2 consecutive years. So yeah, so those are the only 2 specifics in the constitution. And then that word entitled was very, very vague. So we just said that when they're elected, they're now elected for 2 consecutive years. So that just wanted to change because all the previous chairperson, we went according to precedents, and we spoke to Derek and all the other chairpersons, and they all said yes, it was a chairperson and the treasurer. They are elected for 2 consecutive years. So we did that. Yeah, but we're referring to the BRA, sir. I've got your joke. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me where exactly I find that constitution?
No, we can't change the law. If you just go to the Facebook site, and you'll see there's links, and you just click on it, and we'll. So, okay, so do you want to see the hands again to adopt the new constitution? You don't mind? Okay, so. Thank you. 75%. Thank you very much. So from today onward, we now adopt the new constitution. We'll have it on. We have a website now. We'll put it. We've got it on our Facebook, and we'll also have a hard copy at the library. Whoever wants a copy of it, you can download. Alternatively, Diane's number is on the Facebook page. You can just click on a WhatsApp. It will then go to him, and then he can send you the constitution. Okay, it's quite a nice read. And if you have any issues, yes, you can then also just engage Diane.
Thank you very much. Okay, election of the new committee members. Presiding officer, Maureen. Okay, so we've received how many nominations? Seven nominations. 7 nominations, which was Mario, Penny, Sean, Yasmina, Louisa, Arlene, and Diane. It's the same team, right? So we're all standing again. And then we have a space for 2 more members to join us. Look, we have also taken a decision within our group that it is just one of those things that we have to vet any new member that comes on board. Not unfortunately, but because we put a lot of work in it behind the scenes, and we have seen sometimes in the past people just step in and with their own agendas, and they disrupt our hard work and our focus as well. So we, exactly like all other organizations do, we're going to do a vetting process with all members that come on board.
Anyone is welcome to, well, you have to be a Bothasig resident, but anyone's welcome to join us or apply to join us.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us here. And I'm so proud of you, Mario. Last year he put up his hand, and I'm very happy with all the things that you've done. I'm presiding officer for this term again, for this year, and this is going to be very short and very sweet. Everyone has said that they will remain on the BRA, so it's accepted that they are remaining, and I'd like you all to give them all a really big clap, and thanks. Also, what I'd like to say, and this is now not as presiding officer, just as me, saying thank you so much for everything that you've done. And you mentioned that people come into a committee and they sort of, I've had, well, not me personally, but I know that I'm also a chair of several committees. And sorry, they always say from the diaphragm, you know. What I realized is that there was a committee I was serving on, and our committee states that you have to be a serving chair of the particular, you know, the group is made up of chairs. So you've got to be a serving chair to be eligible to, let's put it this way, if we have a vote and one of the group that has served for at least 3 years consecutively, they can be eligible to become the next chair. Because you do find that if you open it up to everyone, people will come in, they don't know the historical, you know, what's happened in the past, and they do tend to come in, and they, as you say, they are disruptive. So you've got to have continuity. You've got to have someone who actually knows the historical context, and you've got to have that procedure following through. So there is a certain protection that we've built in as well to make sure that
by doing that, we will have a greater visual presence. Right? The armed response companies that are represented here, they can't do everything. The neighborhood watch can't do everything. We need to work together. We need to pull all of our resources together. And we need to play this game wisely. We need to get those numbers up as SAPS. We need to report what needs to be reported. That's the only way we make those changes. If we carry on, we will consistently start losing staff members at SAPS. When we lose staff members, they will not be able to get to my personal house every time I'm not happy about something. Then my preference, my view on SAPS goes down. Then I publicly slate them for arriving 3 hours later because they were held off at somebody else's house. Really, it's a very simple concept. It's something that I think everybody in this building understands. And the only people that can do something about it is all of us standing here inside the building. So that is my brief little challenge. Let's make a difference. Let's start playing the game properly. Report what needs to be reported. Support SAPS, support law enforcement, support traffic, support everybody in our area. And that is how we will, at the end of the day, create a safer area. So from that, I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to chat with you guys about that. Captain Bothasig, law enforcement, and everyone, thank you so much for everything that you guys do in our area. It doesn't go unnoticed, so thank you very much. And then to the new BRA committee, congratulations, welcome, good to see you. Hello, Councillor, hope you're having a good evening.
Thank you, Graham. And then Mr. Wayne Aldridge, we've met this man a few months ago. He's opened up his office for us to have our monthly meetings. Just on that note, Mr. Aldridge, thank you very much for allowing us. He is part of the Displaced Persons Unit for law enforcement. He's actually the head of that department. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Those who don't know me, my name's Wayne Aldridge. I've been with the city for 34 years. I've been dealing with street people for 22 of those years. And I've been dealing with problem buildings for 10 years. I'm not going to stand up here and preach to you guys was nothing's changed. I'm sure all of you heard it and you're sick of hearing it. Good evening, sir. The first time I met that man, he fought with me. But I've got a good relationship. I've got a good relationship with everybody in this community. And I'm kind of sorry that you called me up last, because now I'm just going to go on with what Captain Bothasig said and what Graham said. But I'm a law enforcement officer. I do not have the same powers as SAPS, but we're a force multiplier for SAPS. And if they need another 30 staff members, Captain Bothasig can call me, Wayne, I need your staff members in my areas, and we will support them. I can't do it every day, and the captain will call me when she has certain things she needs to done, so we will come out there. I also want to make it very clear, stop wasting, and I apologize to everybody if I sound that I'm being scaling you out. I am not. Stop wasting the police's time with vagrant stuff. If a vagrant is making a fire, stop phoning SAPS, you phone law enforcement. Don't go onto your PCs, the PC cowboys that go on the PCs and type, don't put your hands up. The people that use C3 notifications, because you're too lazy to pick up the phone, to phone law enforcement, and then you wait 6 months because nobody's answered your C3 notification and it gets closed within 5 seconds of you opening it. I see those heads going like this. C3 notifications do not work for law enforcement. C3 notifications work for potholes, lights that are broken, and trees that are overgrown. I always tell people, any inanimate object uses C3 notification. Anything that's alive, human beings and animals, use the emergency number. It's a 24-hour number, it's real time, and an officer, a specific officer, is assigned a specific case, and we can track that case. There is what we call an SR number, service request number. If you phone the emergency number, and I'm sure all of you've got that number, I've given it so many times, it should be on your webpage. Above that little amendment that you made about your constitution, put my number first. So use that 24-hour, it's called EPIC. I don't know what the acronym stands for. I think it's electronic policing blah, blah, blah. So I don't want, but it's, use it. Anything that's got to do with human beings or animals. Are you sure you want me to answer this? Because it's going to cause a debate in this room with everybody. Are you guys sure you want this answer? Okay. Yes, and yes and no to your hypothetical. And how can it be hypothetical if you're admitting what you did? Okay, this is not hypothetical. This is the facts. It doesn't have to be a woman and child. It can be anybody. Yes, I'll get to it now. The only way to prevent a street person, and that street person is not vagrant, the city's official thing is street person. The only way to prevent a street person from camping on your front lawn is don't go on holiday. Stay in your lawn so nobody invades your house. On a lighter note. This is how it stands. You need a court order to remove any tent, makeshift structure, hut, partly built structure, anytime. I'm sure everybody say, I've heard this so many times, but it's within the 24 hours. It's within the 48 hours. That does not exist. If you go to the shop and buy some milk and you come back and somebody's invaded your front lawn and they're living in the tent or structure, you need a court order to remove that person because it becomes an unlawful eviction. PI, the Prevention of Illegal Eviction, Act 19 of 1998. That is the short term of it. The training, not the training, the workshop that we had was explaining this to, I keep getting it, the Neighborhood Watch. Graham, you've had this with me already, and you had it with me a month ago. So they understand exactly what you can and can't do, and when you can and can't do it. You guys need a court order to remove any makeshift structure. If you read the Prevention of Illegal Eviction, the first definition describes what somebody's home is. And it's got nothing to do with a female and a baby. The law does say that if the head of the household is a male, a female, she must be dealt with first, and she must be given alternative accommodation. The city, I'll get to you now, sir. The city has got 7 cases against them for taking action against street people without the proper documentation. That's assault. That's assault with a deadly weapon. A panga. Can I take gentlemen behind? That is not as straightforward as it says. The law says that if somebody's been living in your property for 6 months and longer, that's the only time mentioned in that law, then as the landowner, it could be your responsibility to find suitable alternative accommodation. However, in all the cases that the city has, and in the department I work for, we've got 140 cases coming up for this, which we call tentative camps. The invasion lands across the city, and I can only think of 380 cases that are coming up. And if all of those cases, the court is saying that the city must apply a housing report on of emergency housing for these people. So in the city's case, but for the for a private citizen, it varies. So you can't have somebody in your property, wait 6 months, then evict them, because then you're going to be responsible for alternative accommodation. So if somebody comes in your house without hitting them with a panga, go and start the proceedings, and it can get very, very expensive. You wanted to ask something? Okay. Can I be blunt and honest with you without you getting offended with me? It's a tactic that is used for sympathy for people like you. They come into the communities dressed like this so they can get sympathies. The city has what we call Mr. Cookson, that's the social development department. And you can speak to the council for more material on this. We have a social development within the city of Cape Town, and any child under the age of 18 and 16, phone that number that you've got, the emergency number, and we will send our social workers. We have a 24-hour the social department will come out. But the fact that the kids are sitting on the horse and cart is the responsibility of the parent, and we will hold the parent accountable for what they're doing with their children. And I won't come there and start screaming at children. I will never come and scream and shout at the schools. We will wait there, and we will call social development, and we will assist them. If we can't deal with them on the street, we'll take them to their houses. We'll go to their houses and deal with it. There's a big problem with kids in the Tableview area, at the intersection by the church on R27. What we got here in Bothasig is nothing compared to what they're dealing with in Tableview. But if you want to speak to me after this, I'll gladly give you the contact details, and you can speak to the people or the councillor. She knows what's going on and who she needs to. Law. There's a difference between law and a bylaw. And I enforce a bylaw. Okay, and somebody on the sidewalk, you're infringing on a bylaw. The streets and public places bylaw. And the bylaw only allows me to give you a fine. And many times I say, I am giving this person a fine. I get a lot of it. How do you fine a street person? So the purpose of fining a street person, everybody that gets fined, you get an opportunity to go to court and voice your case in court. The street person is exactly the same one. If they don't want to pay the fine, they've got to go to court and explain to the magistrate
Thank you, Wayne. Okay, then just before we give over to Councillor, I just want to present this award to Captain Bothas for excellent service. Your name is on here, but it's for your entire team of 45 there at the Bothasig station. Thank you very much. Eh? Thank you. Wayne, did he leave? No. We want this also on the wall there where the others are. Thank you very much, Wayne. Thank you. And then Graham Butler for the Bothasig Neighborhood Watch. And then just Gary Conradi. He has been a long-standing member of the Bothasig Neighborhood Watch. Gary selflessly gives of his time to keep the community safe. Gary has consistently been in the top 5 patrollers for the past 5 years. He's also linked to the 𝐁.𝐑 Bothasig LPR camera project, where he monitors and spends hours at a time searching through records and find information that would assist SAPs apprehending criminals. Gary is instrumental in the process of new applicants to Bothasig Neighborhood Watch, taking the time to facilitate and process the expedited, as well as assist the training of these new members. Gary shows he has a heart for our community, not by words, but by unselfishly dedicating his actions. He's got a top patroller. Thank you very much, Gary. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Eh? And then, we also have these guys riding around assisting people. They call themselves the medics. I also got to know them when I joined the Bothasig Neighborhood Watch. Alan Pence, a long-standing member of the Bothasig Neighborhood Watch, who is devoted in many hours to the watch, both as a patroller and as a paramedic. Alan, over the years, has assisted the greater community, from the elderly in frail care to children on the sports field. Alan loves the community and humanity in general. He has placed their needs above his, rushing to help those in need, irrespective of the time, day, and now in his retired years, he avails himself even more. With a stern but carrying bedside manner, Alan wins over everyone he meets. We're incredibly thankful for everything Alan does for our community. He's got a top medical award from us tonight. Thank you, Alan. Thank you, sir. Okay, then for the moment we've all been waiting for, we're going to give over to Councillor Temlet.
Thank you, 𝐁.𝐀. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me, and thank you for coming out in the cold and rain and load shedding. I normally speak off the cuff. I don't normally have a piece of paper, and I don't normally have something that I read from. But I have had meetings since 9 o'clock this morning, and I've been in our second council meeting for this month this morning. So I'm a little bit jaded. I apologize for that. And I apologize, but I have to sit down and I have to look at my notes tonight, because there's a lot that I have to give feedback to, because these two guys keep me really on my toes. So apologies that I have to sit, but I have to sit and I have to read. Okay. I want to give feedback around things that are happening in the ward, but also in Bothasig specifically. I've tried to include important things from the ward as well, purely because the BRA, Mario and 𝐁.𝐀 specifically asked me about these things. So if it's not specifically to Bothasig, then it's just purely because I want to provide feedback in that regard as well. Okay. The ward allocation projects that have to be completed before 1 July 2023, there was 3 projects that we had to combine, as the amounts that was budgeted for these 3 projects on their own were too little to complete any project properly. So the Grendel Multipurpose Court was budgeted 75,000, Vryburger Park 75,000, and the Grendel Soccer Goalposts 85,000, which total 235,000. We combined these 3, and 180,000 will be used to complete the slab at the Grendel, the multipurpose court slab at the Grendel Park, and it will also include another pole and the lines. So the multipurpose court at the Grendel Park will then be completed, fully completed and usable. The leftover 50,000 will be used at Vryburger Park to install 2 new netball poles on the half slab. So there is currently a half slab there. The reason for just a half slab is purely because of space. Then there is 124,000 for Vondel Park, which will go onto an asphalt slab for a mini court. This project has commenced today. So as soon as that, the Vondel Park project is completed, they will move to Vryburger and the Grendel Park. Then we've got the ward allocation projects for 2023-2024. There's Sunnyside Dog Park hard surfacing of 160,000. That's hard surfacing from the entrance to Sunnyside Dog Park gate on the road side of the park to the first bench, and from the bench to the inside gate. That's 50 meters of tarring. Tilbach Park in Richwood fencing of 200,000. It's the installation of a diamond-shaped fence so that Tilbach Park can become a dog park, because Richwood does not have any facility of that nature. There's 370,000 budgeted for Vondel Park, because as you would recall, we are now putting in the court at Vondel Park, so now we have to install the park furniture, the outdoor gym equipment, the netball poles. Then there's park furniture of 30,000, which is the installation of 2 park benches with tables on the Grendel Park in Bothasig and on the Bend Park in Edgemead. There's footpath construction of 80,000, which is the construction of a footpath along the fence on the sidewalk in Edgemead between Anton Andrich and Sunnyside, 45 by 4 meters. Sidewalk construction of 40,000, which is the construction of a new sidewalk in Farmersfield Road, specifically for the Farmersfield Village, the retirement village, to Edge Church. That's 45 meters. And then traffic calming of 25,000, which is the installation of 1 speed bump on Thomas Bowler Avenue between Woodlands Way and Mayuba Close. Then the ward allocation projects for 24-25, which is now my budget. This is the only one that I've now been involved in the actual planning of it. This one is still in draft phase. So what that means is there are some items that we are still waiting for costing, which means that it might still change a little bit. And there are still things that needs to be approved by sub-council. Okay, so the maintenance of CCTV LPR cameras, that is a given. We have to do that. And it's very easy for a developer to say to a councillor, I'll pay you an amount to make this happen. So we are not even allowed to know what's going on in those committees. Only once the result is out, only once the finding is done, then we get the feedback. So I have no control over anything that happens on that piece of land. Whether it's a religious facility, whether it's a educational facility, I have absolutely no input in that. Okay, but I will provide you with information as it becomes available, and the information will be directly from the department as given to me by the department. So just so that that's clear. Then the last thing that I was asked to report back on is the recycling depot that was on the cards in Bothasig, here behind the OK. This project was driven by the previous councillor, so I had to go and scratch for the information because I wasn't aware of what was happening. So I apologize for the delay in my feedback. There were delays with the transfer of the land. The line department commitment to the project was required. Formal public participation was not done, and budget allocation by URP, which is the Urbanization Renewal Project funding, was not finalized. The project was not revisited, as the above was not driven by a line department and no budget was allocated. This project will therefore not commence in the foreseeable future. And that is everything that I had to say. I am only going to allow 3 questions. And the chairman can decide which 3. It's the dog park, which is next to the high school. The part of the earth that is being rezoned actually borders on the N7. So it's actually, for me, it's a good thing that it's being sold, because the developer will have to put a wall up, and it will have to be a proper wall. So, and always in the city, when you have an open piece of land, you always run the risk of invasion. So in that specific scenario, I think this is a good thing for Bothasig, because then entry from that side won't be possible anymore. If you look at the whole earth, it's basically like a rectangle, and they cut it like this. So the bottom part is a triangle, and the bottom triangle part will be the dog park. It will stay the dog park. And we will put it in as a prerequisite for the developer that, or the person that buys the property, that they must develop the dog park, because currently it's just a piece of land. There's no equipment or anything there. So I will fight to make that an actual dog park on their cost, because I don't have money for it. Anyone else? Thank you, Maureen. I always say I have 3 children. I know very well how to divide things between 3 children. And I'm not saying that our suburbs are children. Please, don't quote me out of context. What I'm saying is that you give what people need. So when I buy shoes for my children, I don't buy shoes for all 3 of them. I buy shoes for the one that needs shoes. Otherwise, you're wasting your budget. So the same is what I'm trying to do with my budget in Ward 5. I'm using it where it is needed. And that's why I also specifically said, when I referred back to the budget, that I try to complete a project, because it's silly to have half a project sitting there. We try to complete full projects so that we can have full spaces that people can enjoy. So I'm not favoring Bothasig. I know that's what's being said at the moment. I'm not favoring Bothasig. Some days I wonder if, let me leave it there. You see, this is the kind of negotiation my children do with me as well. Anyone else? Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I just want to clarify. Is that now on Steenhoven Street or on the Grendel? Yeah. Over the Grendel to go to the other side. Okay, so like I said, we're going to paint that box so that when people come out of the garage or, you know, the shopping center, so that they can see, so that there's not cars parked on that side. And if that is where they are parked, then obviously they won't be able to park there either. And then we will send traffic enforcement out as well to enforce, to ticket them when they're standing there. Because I went there myself. I was standing there with the MMC for Urban Mobility, Councillor Quintus, the one that was attacked in Phoenix. And neither of us could get out of the shopping center seeing properly the cars coming from the right. So that is definitely going to happen. Yeah, we might have to do some enforcement there with regards to the kids as well. Anyone else? Thank you so much.
Okay. Okay, then that comes to the end of our proceedings. I just want to say, Mr. Ward.
Question?
As one of the outspoken people last time around Bothasig High School, I just want to personally thank the BRA for the work that they have done. It has improved the traffic considerably. What's left behind is really just bad manners on the part of the kids, but I see even the teacher have been helping out a little bit. But the solution was definitely well received, and we want to thank you very much for that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yes, tree trimming is a problem. Horticultural management in the city is actually a problem in its entirety. When I go to sub-council, the parks department disappear because I hunt them down. But it is a problem, and we are fighting with the parks department because there is a problem in the parks department. The quality of work, the checking of work, the spending of budget with regards to parks, there is a problem there, but we are on it. We are busy. I check them very thoroughly. My assistant checks them, and residents send me, if you've got my WhatsApp number, you can send me bad quality of work, things that hasn't been done. The tree trimming, there wasn't a contract, and I can just repeat again, the unfortunate thing with contracts in local municipalities is that when a company that applied for the tender does not get the tender, they can appeal against the process. Once they appeal against the process, the whole process stops. No work can be done. There's no contract in place. And I'm not talking politics, but from the DA side, we are actually fighting that, because it's only local government that has that specification, that law, if you want to call it that. And it really, really implicates service delivery. So we are fighting to change that, because on provincial and national level, they don't have that. Once a contract is not approved, you can appeal, but then you appeal civic through the court. You don't stop the process. So we are busy fighting that. So that's unfortunately what happened with the mowing contract, that where we had grass this high for about 8 months. The mowing contract was finalized, so that at least happened. And the tree trimming contract was only finalized 2 weeks ago. So unfortunately, there is now a backlog I've got requests that go back 3 years of tree trimming. And unfortunately, that backlog has to now be caught up. And that is the problem. So I apologize profusely, because that is a mistake that, it's the fault of the city. I really apologize for that. But I would really ask your patience and understanding, because they are busy with it. They are working. I actually have a schedule. So if you can send me your address through WhatsApp, I can check on the schedule where your request is. Perfect. Oh, they eat the branches. Yes. So again, I apologize for that. That, like I said, we don't always get everything right, but we try. And in this regard, we are fighting to make it better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. This brings us to the end of our proceedings for this evening. Please stay behind. We've prepared some quiche, biscuits and stuff at the back there, and we've got some hot tea and coffee, I think. Danish, sorry, Danish, not quiche, sorry, it's Danish, lastly, I want to thank again, the community for coming out, and also to my team, to each and every one of you. You guys play a pivotal role in what we all do here. We don't take individual accolades in this group. When we do something, we take it as a team. And just thank you very much from our side. Thank you very much, everyone. Oh, sorry, just before we go, the sound guy as well as Aristo for the YouTube link. Thank you very much for always being prepared to help us when we call on you guys. Thank you very much.